Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ugly Ducks podcast. And my name is Mary Rose. I'm the virtual reality artist for the Ugly Ducks. And today we have a special guest, Jesse.
How we doing, guys? Glad to be here. Which camera am I looking at? Gotcha. Yeah.
So where are you from, Jesse?
I am from New York, born and raised. Truthfully, I am from Yorkville, but when I'm trying to be impressive, I say the Upper East Side.
Nice.
Kind of interchangeable. But yeah, I grew up right there at 92nd and First, and so it's still pretty close.
Oh, that's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do with blockchain rigging? Is that how you say it?
Absolutely. I haven't quite heard that term, but I might start stealing it.
Okay.
I guess in colloquial terms, run a Bitcoin mine, and a pretty large one. We're honing in on 5 megawatts, and that's 5 million watts, and scaling to about 20 megawatts, hopefully over the next year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and just to give you some perspective on what the hell those numbers even mean, the Empire State Building is around 8 megawatts. So yes, Bitcoin is very dense, and we have fit this little over half of an Empire State Building in a 5,000 square foot warehouse.
What does the warehouse look like? What does it look like?
Yeah, it's kind of like anticlimactic in that part. It just kind of looks like a server farm. Happy to show some photos or something. I don't know if there's any post editing or things we can pull up, but yeah, basically it's like rows and rows of hot aisle containment that my really brilliant business partner Andrew Insignaris engineered for us. And the main idea, and a lot of people don't know about this, is that electricity is deregulated in America. There's very few countries in the world that have as vast a spread on electricity. We have a private electricity market. So basically you have 26 cents per kilowatt electricity in New York, and the ability to get 3 cents per kilowatt electricity just 3 hours away. And Bitcoin mining, your price of electricity dictates your profitability, basically. So I could get a brand new $12,000 machine and make way less of a return than I could buying a $400 machine and plugging it in my facility versus in New York City.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of intensive research before you chose to branch out to PA, or were you already?
No,
yeah, I used to work with solar panels, so I know mathematics you're kind of talking about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We did a crazy amount of research.
Yeah.
So I had been mining, since around 2012. It was sort of the end of
Oh, so you were early.
I was
in
early.
My opinion.
No, I was early, and
in the mining spot, you were early.
In the mining spot, sort of for fun, was mining with computers. Back when, that was sort of already really not profitable anymore. But with GPUs, you could still mine Bitcoin. Basically, what we kind of realized was that your electricity price really dictated your ability to be profitable.
Yeah.
But at the time, the machines that are specialized for Bitcoin mining, these ASIC machines, they're called, and really the best way of describing them, they're kind of like an autistic savant brain. All they do is hash these numbers. So they're measured in terahashes, really, which is 1 trillion hashes a second. And the idea is that these computers move Bitcoin and validate Bitcoin transactions for other people by essentially solving these very complex math equations. It's all done, programmatically. You don't have to worry about that. So when someone tries to send a Bitcoin, it basically goes into this memory pool, and the miners validate and facilitate the transactions for people. So the more hash power you have of the Bitcoin network, which in my opinion, the value of the Bitcoin network is the backbone of all the value of Bitcoin. It's one of the largest, most robust networks in the world. A lot of people don't even know that. And then Bitcoin is sort of the backbone of all of crypto. So, everyone else is doing these really sexy plays and crazy smart contract, nuanced things. And my partner and I have just been kind of quietly promoting the backbone and slowly and surely growing.
That's amazing. Yeah, we've been silent.
Yeah.
We've been silent.
Yeah,
Well,
something like that.
congratulations. That's so
Maybe they're not even
awesome.
looking.
Yeah, you know, just mining for a heart of gold, trying.
Yeah.
Do you have any do you know how it works on a?
That's what I was curious. Honestly, I want to know where. By the way, I'm Inf author, Kareem Hayes, blah blah blah. I wanted to know where's your passion for it come from, because I'm hearing the technical side, and to be honest with you, like 50% of those terms I don't understand.
I'm just regurgitating.
Yeah,
I understand like
And
10%.
he said he was doing it for fun on his computer.
But I'm really
together.
curious
Yeah.
about why are you so passionate about this? How do you feel like what you're doing will potentially change the world?
Because it is.
Absolutely.
It is.
I really have a direct line of thinking on that. So, I grew up in Manhattan, and I was very blessed. And it's the same thing we talked about a few weeks ago. I think that talent is equally distributed in the world, but opportunity is not. That's the simple crux of it, right? And so I was very blessed to grow up. And I went to a high school, we didn't have a football team. It was interesting to read fucking philosophy and just play guitar. I was kind of like a big closet nerd. And I was into libertarian philosophy. Gerard Casey, like Friedman, like freedom to choose, basically the concept of the intersection of like censorship and monetary policy. Where is value created? Is it from your ability to pay your taxes? Is it from your ability to pay other people? The real way I got into all this was through the video game World of Warcraft. Funny enough, I was playing World of Warcraft, and fascinatingly enough, there was a gold economy worth billions of dollars, and actually that's how Brock Pierce got into crypto.
That's how Metallic went to it as well.
Really? I didn't even know that.
World of Warcraft, the very same game.
I got in through World of Warcraft, and for those that don't know, you can grind in the game. And basically what grinding is you're doing these stupid repetitive tasks. It takes hours and hours of your life to sort of gatekeep value. So if you click on random locations in the map and like mine ore or something, you can then sell that. So people realize that you can farm the gold in the game. And I caught myself buying and selling gold in World of Warcraft when I was 15, 16. And very serendipitously, I started buying and selling gold in World of Warcraft in high school. I must have been 16, and I was making like good money, maybe $1,000, $1,200 a month, 15, 16.
Wow.
And very quickly, all these gold websites started accepting Bitcoin. All of a sudden. And it was like worthless. No one wanted it, and it was going up and down in value, so much. And it was really crazy. And then I started reading more about it. And again, my sort of blessed background of just, having interested people in these erudite things of, I have friends that I really respected, like intellectually, that it was cool to be a nerd. It was cool to be different. And, people, it's kind of synonymous with having like a fascinating, nerdy thing of like some kid, in the back. I mean, I failed my math class, it's not mutually exclusive. I was very interested in this, and the concept that with Bitcoin, you can send someone money. It's agnostic to political allegiance, to arbitrary borders that a country is drawing up. I mean, we don't even have to talk about Ukraine and what's going on over there, but it's a great use case. And one of the funniest things was, I tried to send money to someone in South Africa. I sent her money like 3 times, and my bank kept rejecting the money. And eventually, I was like, can I just pay you in Bitcoin? And just sent it in a couple minutes. It was there, So I don't know if I'm actually answering your questions.
I
hear you saying that like you have a passion for freedom.
Yes.
And decentralization, and at an early age you were blessed to be around people who kind of fed that nerdy, techie type of nature that you had, and you're on this path to kind of like help liberate other people and free other people, but you're doing it through the tech side.
Yeah.
Like the tech revolution.
Yeah.
The backbone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there definitely are some like deeper Freudian things in there. No pity story. My dad passed away when I was very young, and did a lot of things on a handshake. And when he passed away, my dad's business partner really acted very poorly, and claimed a bunch of things that were owed to him and to my mom, who was a young widow with a kid, and basically entered like an 8-year-long lawsuit So that I think really triggered my like formidable like lack of ability for people to take what's mine, like lack of intervention in someone, you know, like fucking with my stuff. Excuse my colloquialism. And so I think that kind of growing up with that really paranoid mentality, in addition to my own like living in New York where everyone is living on top of each other. It's a very cutthroat place, and you don't even realize it until you go away and see normal people, you know, just smile at your neighbor. No one's gonna like, you know, slap you if you step on their shoe. Like New York is a messed up place. And with all that comes an incredible energy too. And if you know how to ride it, it's the most unfair wave in life. If you don't know how to ride it, it crushes you. So I just think it was the perfect storm of all these things that came together to make me who I am right now.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, because you touched on like a little like brilliant points, especially like sort of when you were speaking on to even touch on the Ukraine bit. I feel like the current climate of things is like the perfect proof of concept for why crypto is a thing. Like literally, essentially, you saw how they froze countless numbers of bank accounts and things of the sort, and there was a point at which all of these were only taking Bitcoin, only taking crypto. So it's Ukraine right now is sat on at least like $14-15 million like worth of crypto. So
I heard it's like over 100 now too.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah, to help the people over there.
Like so it's like the way Bitcoin sort of facilitates that immediate sort of control over your money, because I feel like that's the most important thing, sort of control over your assets. Because even to when you were speaking about your dad, condolences as well, like, but that really like touched me based off like a decade ago when my dad went through a brain hemorrhage as a result of all the, you know, my mom's distracted. I'm like 13, 14 at the time, so there was a lot going on. So there was a lot of investments and companies that held like our money and all of this, and we've been in about a 12-year long legal battle for for an account that's worth about $20-30 million. Yeah, and we're still in like battle, like
vultures.
Like they come in sweeping in, and it's still going on to the point where right now what we're expected to get is maybe 15% of that.
Pennies on the dollar.
Pennies on the dollar. Yeah. So I feel like that's where, you know, the real beauty behind cryptocurrencies is that like the ease of transaction. You know, bringing you to South Africa, sort of play that ease of transaction, but also the control it gives the individual, the way it empowers the individual over their assets. Because even it's like what we have in the stock market, what we have in our savings account, what we have in our bank accounts, it's not ours.
It's just
like it's just numbers. Yeah, like literally, like you see the way they've been able to like close down and shut down certain bank accounts, like in Russia, like in Ukraine. Like people don't have access to what is theirs. Like Canada was crazy.
Crazy.
Like it's crazy, bro. So it's like to see that, it's like we're going through currently a proof of concept. Like we're going through why this is undeniably the future, and I think it's a beautiful thing. So I'm, you know, obviously from London as well, but I'm Nigerian, so I've spent about half my life between both. Like I was born in the US as well, so you know I'm a whole lot
third culture kid.
Yeah, you get me.
I want to visit Lagos a lot.
Yeah, like bro, I love Lagos. Like I used to go at least once a year.
Cool.
Where you get me. Like I'm actually going at the end of the month.
Sick.
Yeah, so you're welcome to come out with me. I can't lie, because you know why I'm so interested in the space is what it can do for Africa as a whole. Like that's really what got me interested in the whole crypto, NFT, smart contract space. Because Africans' cultural exports is some of the most exploited across the world, and even and that's why, you know, especially with rampant corruption and things of the sort, that's why a system such as Bitcoin is necessary. That's why it's, like currently people don't know this, but Africa is the reason we have Venmo. It's the reason we have Zelle. Because
you know, Nigerians, I was reading about, I think by definition of higher education, the most successful immigrant group of the last decade.
Yes, so highest educated in the US and all Western countries. Period. Like, yeah, come on. Oh yeah, for my kinfolk. You understand? But Nigeria as well as Ghana, South Africa are the reason we have Cell and all these, just ease of sending money based off. We were the ones that sort of showed and proved that the whole concept of that ease of exchange, digital spending was possible. So that's why even currently I feel like that's the direction the whole crypto space is also heading, as well as Africa based off, and we can see that from I'm not even just speaking of a dream or just based off I'm from there, we see in the numbers as well.
That's reality.
Yeah, it's reality.
I've been looking at, they call it, I think it's like Jumia, that company that exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest
after Amazon
holdings that I mean, it looks insane.
You did a good 8x then. Yeah, I was watching Jumia all throughout.
I've done okay, but there's room. It's gonna be a massive thing.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's no different to me. Look at the Asian market's explosive growth over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Why are we discounting the biggest continent
on the planet?
Makes no sense.
Literally, that's why I feel even to go back to the numbers, the top 10 cryptocurrency adoption in the world period, the US sits at 6% adoption rate.
Wow.
Well, it's about 8 maybe right now. It's estimated to get about 12% at the end of the year. Now, Nigeria is sitting at 25% adoption rate. Kenya is sitting about 17. Ghana.
That makes me bullish for Bitcoin's price.
Yeah, genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel like with the right sort of regulatory oversight and sort of inclusion in the space, it's about to do equal parts for both the tech, Bitcoin, and crypto as much as for the continent as well. So I feel like that's really where, personally, I feel like that's where the market is leading. You get me? Just based on
spot on.
Genuinely, I feel like that's it. Everything's coming back to the motherland at the end of the day, because that's where it's really, it can be maximized.
It can be maximized, but there are intrinsic shortcomings in corruption and political, affiliations.
Yeah.
So that's where governance tokens come into play, whereby the mindset of it's mainly young people that are actually into crypto.
Yeah.
In Africa. So we really need to focus on DAOs, decentralized.
And just education in general.
That's
it.
That's the big, because people are what the hell is a DAO if you don't even know how internet protocol works?
Yeah.
It's still so new.
Even touching education, I feel like the education is the biggest sort of limiting factor for the potential of Bitcoin as a whole. I feel like that's the biggest threat to the future of Bitcoin.
People don't get this.
Yeah, it's the fact that people don't get it. There's a limited number of developers and things of the sort.
Without
in the
scalability, there's no system.
Exactly.
The saddest part is on that exact note is look at JP Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
For years they were disparaging Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Dimon's definitely Bitcoin sucks. It's what price are we getting at?
Exactly.
I mean, then he came out. Now they love it. Now it should be in everyone's portfolio.
Well, the US tried to stifle it, but now they know its holders.
Don't you think it's watch what they do and not what they say?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's that famous quote? It's first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you,
and then become you.
Yeah, and then they try.
Let me ask the group a question. With the current climate of the world right now, right? Are you snatching your crypto off exchanges and putting it on a
100% hard wallet. All
Yeah,
day.
I have more money to put
All
on.
day.
I leave probably 5% on
Exchanges,
on exchange.
So you heard that. Y'all need to be doing that.
Yeah.
Get a ledger.
It's not financial advice, but
The biggest network security you can have, and even just use an email for everything that matters and dear in my life is an email that no one knows except me. I've never sent an email from it. I've never done anything because why would I?
That's smart.
If you use an email if I know your email and I go to send password to, I know your email, I can try and socially engineer and get your email.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't even know my email from a network security perspective,
It's brilliant.
it's very difficult, And that's just basic stuff that
Thank you for sharing.
people don't know.
that.
Yeah. Tell
There's not
everyone.
enough teachers in the space, is what I'm realizing.
Yeah.
It's you kind of just fall on it, and then you learn as you go. Something like what you do, it's not new to me.
No, this isn't a thing.
Like him, it's brand new. So
But by the time it is so mainstream, that lack of volatility is anyone who's in is incumbent. You're calcified in.
Yeah.
Like look at the 1960s, 1970s on Wall Street. You didn't have to be brilliant. And guys like Milken sold junk bonds. Nowadays, a very novel, if not antiquated concept, became billionaires. But they did it first.
Yeah.
They did it first, you know?
So if we were to teach other people about this and try to get them in on the space or educate the younger generation, like one of my big things is for the younger me. Like what are we doing every day for the younger you, 16-year-old you, or the younger generation? And one thing that we really need to like bring into this is education and like the correct way to begin educating these kids.
Yeah.
There's a conference going on next week in April, the first week of April,
Miami.
Shitcoin.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm actually supposed to be going
Yo,
there as
I
well.
love Ken.
Yeah.
I love all of them. One of the big things that I'm working with them also doing is how are we educating and what are we doing to educate the lower income people, the lower class people, the people who don't have the proper upbringing or the proper education.
Yeah.
So do you think that we should start it with what you do? Because that is the backbone, that is the core.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, it's like what I didn't take as much money at the start, right?
Yeah.
Like just mining a currency, but then it's like, in order to make money in life, I feel like you either have to be really good at something everyone knows about or do something that other people don't know about. The way I got into this, I quit my job and answered a Craigslist ad to be a janitor at a Bitcoin mining facility.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What
That's
synchronicity is
Yeah,
Is
and
it like
so
your first
I-
job you applied to? Like on
well,
Craigslist?
It was the first like Bitcoin. There's no one was doing this in 2017. Like there's no one. And I like told them to mine like Raven coin. Point is, they quickly realized like they're like, why is this guy here? Like, are you a spy or something? And my intent was like to learn everything I could.
Wow.
And then I hired my now partner Andrew, who was at Google at the time, and before that was an algo trader on Wall Street. It was a quant, brilliant engineer, to come be the CTO over there at this company. We were there for maybe 2 months. It was horribly run. It was like a bunch of dudes that were like electricians, and like I'm not going to cast any judgment or say anything, but I didn't like the way they did business, and so I let all the clients kind of know like, hey, should watch out for these guys, and they weren't really doing what they were supposed to, claiming they had space. I didn't see that they had, and I eventually pitched my idea to like a bunch of different shops. Out of like 40 people I talked to, 40 different shops, one of them believed in me. Brought a lot of the clients from that other site, and at 24, I did all this with my partner, and we've been up and running for the last 3 years. And that's the start. But it started with me quitting my job on Wall Street and answering a Craigslist ad and living in a barracks with like 12 other random dudes in upstate New York. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
That's a smart move.
Yeah, that's the spirit of the entrepreneur right there.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off what she said about like young people and stuff. I remember I had a conversation with you. One of the most powerful things you said to me is that talent is distributed equally, but opportunity is not.
Yeah, that stuck out to me too. That's
So
beautiful.
if I'm a young dude, like 17 years old, from an urban environment,
Yeah.
might not have that much opportunity, but I'm looking to get into the crypto space, what would you tell me?
100%. I would tell you that, like, put your luxury mindset on hold. Put having to have like, I honestly, I don't even like buy sneakers that are not just for function. Like, I just don't want to be part of that rat race. I don't want to keep up with the Joneses. I like nice things that are nice, not because they're artificially marked up. And I would say, like, it is not that hard to dive into Python, to dive into these coding languages. The first 6 months, you'll be like, what the fuck? Then you'll think you understand it. Then you'll study another 6 months, realize, wait, no, I really don't understand this. And then by about month 18, you could probably make like 80 grand a year working remotely, doing basic work in that. And then it scales up. If you can learn, if I was able to teach myself, I mean, I taught myself these things around 23, and it's a means to an end. Like, there's still a lack of like education, equity, and understanding the programming languages. I know you said you're an engineer yourself. Like, you get it. It is a learning curve, and it is the most rewarding thing. But people would rather keep their head down and not move in that direction, partially because they don't know it exists, partially because it's not fun the first year. But once you learn to speak the language, then you can write poetry, right? Don't try and write poetry in a language if you're still studying the alphabet. And just, there's a really good thing, I call it the valley of despair, right? Where it's like you kind of start off here, happy and ignorant. And if this is your skill and this is happiness, you start off here happy and ignorant. And then it sucks. You realize more, you're smarter. It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And eventually you make it to the other side. And when you make it to the other side, it's the most rewarding thing in life. And
I'm
that's
skilled and happy.
then you're skilled and happy.
So somebody who's trying to learn more about like Bitcoin and the coding language, you would start with Python?
I would start with just basic understanding of like stack flow and what the hell a computer language even is. Like, you know, I mean, think like on a physical level, how do you go from wires plugged into a ground to your computer? I mean, the world is getting increasingly digital, and being able to move and manipulate and impose your will in this newfound world
It's true.
It's like fun. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
a
it's
creator
true.
thing.
Yeah.
is the most powerful asset. I mean, there's people that take down, like Anonymous right now, taking down the Russian armies, literally forcing the Russian citizens to see the atrocities going on in Ukraine. Like, that is so powerful. It doesn't matter if you can bench 315 or do all that. And I love going to the gym too. You got to be able to move in all of these ways. And
Yeah,
it's
I put
education
the
is a
Oculus on,
Mhm.
and somebody beat me up, yo.
powerful.
And I knew this guy. So if I seen this guy on the street, I know I could beat this guy up. This guy is writing all on my face, but I'm not I don't know how to move. You know, I'm just,
It's a dance, right?
yeah. I'm
It's all
holding
connected.
controllers.
You
I'm
know?
just trying to get away from him. He's like, yeah. Oh man.
I guess it comes down to like, being able to impose your will on the world.
Mhm.
Nothing is more frustrating than being intellectual, because again, wisdom and knowledge are two very different, or
Wow.
wisdom and intelligence are two
Yes,
different
we're gonna be
things.
friends. We're gonna be friends.
Right? No,
Hey, nah, because when I tell you I preach that, there's gates are information, knowledge, and then wisdom.
yes.
Like,
Yes.
hey,
Like the way I describe it is like the guys that I meet out in, PA, smart, brilliant, smart guys. Like the difference is stupidity is like you've been taught repeatedly and you cannot learn. Ignorance is you haven't been taught, but maybe if you were taught, you'd be 10 times better than me.
Yep.
And a lot of people are so intellectually insecure, in my opinion, that they don't want to share the data, the wealth, because they're scared that the other people will be better than them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have no such fears.
So that's why I feel like that's why I personally enjoy the crypto space, because I had a background in economics and computer science.
Amazing.
I worked at this accounting firm for all of 3 days before I quit and started my first business. So based off, it was so frustrating to know that people are so stuck in their ways, and your boss is like scared of you throwing your good ideas to his boss, and
And he'll steal them from you.
like I'm giving ideas, and it's like I'm seeing him regurgitate what I'm doing. I'm fine with that, just based off, that's the job I was there to do. But it was like when you're still belittled and like all of this, I was just like, I can't do this. Like, what, 3 days?
It's like mushroom management, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to keep you in the dark.
So I feel like that's why I've been so enamored by the whole crypto space, because everyone, regardless of your level in the space, it's like you even being here right now. Like regardless of your level and your background in the space or whatever, there's a genuine desire to share the wisdom, share the knowledge, and just share the information.
It's not zero sum.
Yeah,
This isn't a chess match,
exactly. Like everyone likes to think that it's like me eating is taking food off your
No,
plate.
it's not like that. There's so much abundance in the world.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the old system.
And I feel like that's what holds people back in general. So let's get psychoanalytical with it. It's that what's the word for it? It's this sort of mindset in which there is no abundance.
It's a scarcity.
It's a scarcity mindset. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm running
Yeah.
off 4 days with no sleep.
No,
I don't even know how. I'm
sounds
speaking
better
right
when
now.
you said it for me for whatever reason.
Yeah, you hear that scarcity. But yeah, it's a scarcity mindset. I feel like that's what holds like just people back in general, and I feel like there's such a lack of scarcity
Yeah.
in the crypto space. Bro, like it's the most beautiful thing.
I was telling you a little bit about portion.
Yeah.
My good friend Jason Rosenstein is brilliant. He's a really profound individual, and he had said something to me a long time ago. Because he's an incredibly abundant human, right? It's not about money. It's not about anything. He's just very content with himself. And so when I lower myself, most people can't lower themselves. All the water flows down to me. And when you learn to channel that and not, instead of having your house flood, you create a mental dam to power yourself. you unlock the world a lot more. So I believe that,
That's all I need. Like, that's all I need.
There's always a need for a catalyst.
Mm.
In your example, in his example, you guys are the catalyst. All the raw materials are there, and at least you don't get used up in the moment, just like a catalyst in a chemical reaction.
Spot on. And there's in that same analogy, there's that the precursors have to be right.
Yeah.
Right. In my case, it's like opportunities, self knowledge that I already taken in, like events that led me to that. It all comes together.
Books you read.
And the books I've read. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Keep on the side, like books change your life.
I'd say the metaverse is like a series of interconnected intellectual property. It's almost like you can have the actual cryptographic code attached to a video or image. If you were to go into a store, let's say there's a Gucci store in the metaverse, you can actually pick something and it has immutable value. So maybe you buy it in the metaverse and it's shipped to you in real life. It's basically, I would say that one sentence, a series of interconnected intellectual property that's backed by the immutability. I mean, these are things that, again, you need to have a kind of lower level concept when they build. It's a complicated concept. Yeah. It's like a digital place that is actually based on permanence. It's not just on one arbitrary server. It's connected to like a world server, right?
So wow.
You guys think that's off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think that was like the perfect way to explain it, actually.
I think like if you're gonna go even a step lower, the metaverse is merely just a place of center. A place of center, I mean, literally, the moment you're in the metaverse, you have become part of a whole. It's like it's a unifying, space. So unifying in the sense that there's no singular thing outside of the metaverse. The moment there was a web page that people could visit in Web 1, the metaverse came into existence, but only through, it wasn't interactive. Web 2 came, we could interact. Web 3 comes, we can make our own.
Yeah.
I'm upset that I spoke so much and didn't hear you speak, say more, because you didn't speak that much, but everything you've said has deeply resonated with me.
Thank you.
You'll have to come on again.
Yeah,
On the Ugly Duck podcast.
Ugly
Yes,
Duck
he's gonna come again.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna close it out now. Does anybody want to end with anything? Do you want to give your social media handles if you do that? Or
I mean, my company is called Soltaire. There's formerly known as Y2X Digital, SOLTEIR. You guys can expect some big things.
yeah,
next year
I'd like to hear it.
coming out.
First.
Yeah, so